Do you feel like this is like the most buzz for a Ryder Cup in recent years? I feel like it's gotten huge.
Probably coming off of the Tiger thing on Sunday and all that craziness. I would think so. If it was a domestic Ryder Cup as opposed to the time change difference, I'll bet you it would be even bigger too. But yeah, there's a lot of momentum in golf right now based upon what Tiger did last Sunday.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, I was watching the Golf Channel last night, and Chambly threw out a stat which was kind of shocking to me, and this plays into the strategy of that first match tomorrow. But apparently the winner of the very first match, Steve, the very first match out of the gate, that team has won 13 of the last 19. Okay, so that first match is critical. Knowing that, what's the strategy for Furyk, and what do you think that first pairing will be?
You know, it'd be interesting. I think it's going to be Patrick Reed and Tiger Woods. Mm-hmm. I think that, you know, Tiger coming off of what he did, and I think that Jim understands that being a front runner is what you want to do. You know, you don't want to backload. You want to grab the lead and kind of, you know, take the spirit away from the Europeans and the crowd when you're on the road. I mean, the U.S. hasn't won over here in European soil since 1993. So I would think grabbing the lead would be the thing you want to do most, and that stat points that out. So I would put Tiger out first, and I think he's going to play with Patrick Reed.
All right, so we all assumed, now we could read between the lines when you see these practice groupings, that it looks like Tiger and Patrick are going to play together, JT and Spieth are going to play together. But the big question is, why did they break up, Reed and Spieth, when they were so great together? I believe their record together is like 8-1-3. They've just been absolutely dominant.
They may still play together, though, maybe in the afternoon.
They might. I think they're going to mix and match. It depends on the format. You know, in the morning here, the European team gets to decide. The home team gets to decide what the format is. There are only two formats. You're playing 4-ball or you're playing foursome. So meaning you're playing alternate shot or you're playing all four guys playing their own golf ball. Best score on each team goes down on the card. So I think that for Patrick Reed, last week he played terrible. He did not play well. But Tiger has said, I'll take Patrick Reed on my squad. Jordan Spieth coming off of not playing great golf, Reed not playing great golf. It seems to me that Spieth and Thomas are very, very good friends. You don't want to go cold. He played, you know, much, much better than all those guys the last few weeks. So I would think that those two would be a very comfortable pairing. It's not as if they're breaking up Spieth and Reed. I just think that right now, the way they're all playing, it makes more sense to have someone who might be, you know, struggling a touch to play with Tiger, and someone who is struggling a touch or was off last week to play with Thomas.
Now on the other side, Sandsy, will Thomas Bjorn, the captain of the European team, will he throw out Rose and Rahm for that first match against Tiger and Reed, in your opinion?
I personally would throw out Tommy Fleetwood and Alex Noren. Both of them are the last two winners of the French Open played on this golf course. To me, it makes sense to have guys who are very comfortable here and who are playing well, and they are. So, you know, they know what this course is like. They know what the venue has to hold. And, you know, the fact that Fleetwood's never played in the Ryder Cup might be a bit of a disadvantage, but they're playing 4-ball, not alternate shots. It's a much easier format to play your own golf ball than to have that pressure on you to hit one shot and then your other guy hits the other shot and the other guy hits the other shot. So, to me, it seems like a Fleetwood-Noren go out first, but, you know, you could very well go put, you know, your horsepower out there in Rose and Stenson, who are like Reed and Spieth in the past. Rose and Stenson have a tremendous record together.
Okay, so Rose and Stenson will play together, and not Rose and Rahm.
Well, it could be Rose and Rahm, but Rose and Stenson have performed very, very well the last couple of Ryder Cups together. They play a ton of golf together back in Orlando and Lake Nona. They're very familiar with each other, and they've had a lot of success. So I would think that it would be Rose and Stenson together, but I'd be shocked if they don't play together at some point tomorrow.
So you mentioned the course where they host the French Open there on the European Tour, and Noren and Fleetwood won the last two. Certainly an advantage for those two guys. How many of the Americans have actually played in that tournament? Do we know?
Justin Thomas actually came over and played. He's the only one. He wanted to he played in the French Open and wanted to just get familiar with the golf course. So I think guys have come over here sporadically just to see what it's looked like the last couple of years. Might say when they're over in Europe, let's come over here for a day and play. But I know Thomas played in the French Open, and he did that on purpose. However, Thomas will also tell you that the Ryder Cup is a lot different than the French Open. The golf course is set up completely different. Thomas Bjorn has the ability, he's the captain on the European team, has the ability to set up the golf course how he chooses, just like the Americans have the choice to set up the golf course the way they want to when the Ryder Cup is played in the United States. So he wants it to be tough and major championship-like. When the French Open's played, it's more wide open. The fairways are much skinnier now. The whole locations will be much different now. It'll be a totally different golf course than the way it was played for the French Open. However, having that familiarity is something that Justin Thomas thought was important, and I agree. I think it's a very important thing.